Hi, this is Paul from finishYourSong.com, and in this video I want to have a look at how you go about comparing your mix with some reference tracks so that you get a real world perspective on how good your mix is. Because it doesn't matter how good you are as a mixer, when you get to the point of you think the mix is finished, you've been listening to it for too long and you've lost all perspective on it. Don't care who you are, whether you're a beginner or one of the greatest producers in the world, you need a reality check, and that's what reference mixes provide. Now there's a number of ways of incorporating reference mixes into your workflow. One is to have the reference mix on a separate channel within your project, and what you would do is you would mute that, listen to your mix, then you would solo the reference track, listen to the reference track, and you would go back and forth between the reference track soloed and the reference track muted so that you could listen to your mix, and you would go back and forth between the two. That's fine, but there is one problem with that approach, namely that if you have any plugins on your output channel, they are also going to affect the reference track. So you don't end up with a true comparison because you're hearing the reference track processed through whatever plugins you've got across your master fader, as well as your mix processed through those same plugins. So effectively you're processing the reference track twice, if you see what I mean. You can get around that by routing your mix through a bus and then routing your reference track through another bus and then soloing and muting the relevant buses to give you the flexibility to compare the two. But it all starts to get rather messy. It does involve introducing an extra channel, an extra bus into the signal path of your mix. A second approach is to export your mix through those plugins on your master channel and then import that mix into a separate project where you have your reference tracks side by side. Something similar to the kind of arrangement I've used in previous videos when looking at using MP3s as reference tracks and when we were looking at Curve EQ. That's fine, it gets around the issue of having plugins on your output channel, but it does involve exporting your track, importing it into another project, which isn't a very immediate process. And that's what Magic AB is designed to get around. So what I've got here is my usual track Flames in the Fire, and what I've got on my stereo output is the Magic AB. If I had other effects here, that wouldn't matter because the signal is going to arrive at Magic AB and we're going to end up listening to our reference tracks at that point after that processing has affected our mix only. So let's have a look at it. This is Sample Magic. What you have here is, on this side is where you load in your reference mixes. I have a few tracks loaded in. We've got American Girl, Tom Petty, Straight for the Heart by Toto and Girls Like That from Deep Purple. And whichever one I click on, the magnifying glass icon is the one that appears in the top screen, and that's the B. The A is my mix, and at the top we have meters that give us the peak level and the RMS. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set Flames in the Fire going, and we'll have a look at how that affects the left and right channels. And if I shut up and then reset the meters, you should see the desired effect. Okay, so it's peaking just short of 0, which is a bit loud really, and we've got an RMS of -14. Now the RMS is important because that's actually the comparative level of loudness. So what I would be wanting to do for comparison purposes is to start by having my reference tracks peaking at about -14, or running at about -14 RMS, and take it from there. And these sliders on this side enable us to balance out the two channels if we need to. So what we need to do is to show you it in operation. Now, I can't use these because they're copyright and YouTube will not like me using copyright material. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of the Windows sample tracks and use that to compare my mix to. So you just click on that to load a track, and it gives you the chance to load or unload the sound, which is important because obviously we're loading these into memory and we've got RAM usage going, and so if we've finished with a particular track, then we can unload it and free up some sample memory. We're going to load, and this is actually my reference track library within my library drive. So I've got a number of different tracks here that I would use as reference tracks for comparing mixes to. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to go off to this one, public music, the sample music that comes with Windows, and we're going to go to Kalimba MP3, and there it is. So we can play that. We go into B. So that's now playing, and we're now seeing over here that its RMS is -12. So what we want to do is just reduce that by 1.5 dB. Click on that there, and its RMS is still a bit hot, so we'll reduce it a bit more. You can do this, as you can see, you can do this offline. Click on that, and it's now about -14. So if I just stop that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to set Flames in the Fire going, and then I'm going to click between A and B so you can see how you can hear the respective pieces of music, and you can make a judgment as to how the mix you're working on compares to your reference track. It's as simple as that. So here we go. Well, I think you can agree that the mix needs a bit of work. You have to bear in mind with this that you are on your B track listening to something that's been mastered. So it's had the benefit of that final polish and processing. But on the other hand, if you can get your mix to sound something like before it's mastered, then your mix is going to be well on its way to being something of a standout. You can also use these controls here to set a loop. So if I just hit loop, I then get two markers and I can come in. So say for example I wanted to really focus on the chorus of a particular piece of music. With loop enabled, I could have it going round and round, so I could just work on one bit of the reference track if there was a particular part that I wanted to really focus in on for comparison purposes. You can also get it to play at different speeds, and also if you're really interested to see the WAV file, you can zoom in and out. But the important thing here is that this is a quick and easy way of putting something on your output bus that enables you to do an A/B comparison of your mix and one of a number of reference tracks, because although we've just been using the Windows sample audio file, you can just as easily click to that one, or that one, or that one, and you can loop them, and the same applies. You can quickly compare your mix to a number of reference mixes, and it's that quick. It's as quick as that click. As you might imagine, when I bought this, I didn't pay full price. It's one of those plugins that if you keep an eye on the website, you decide you want it, you keep an eye on the website, and eventually they do have it on sale. I think it might also be one of those where if you go on the website and have a good browse around a couple of times, all of a sudden there's an advert in Facebook that gives you a discount code or something similar. If you're not familiar with my videos, you won't be aware that I'm a great advocate of never paying full price for anything. If you can get a legal copy during a sale, or by using a coupon or voucher code or whatever, I'm all for that. I think it's a great way to expand the range of facilities that you have without breaking the bank. And that's it from me for this video. So until next time, you take care of yourselves.